All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I know I'm probably going to upset some Souls-like fans out there, but here's the thing. You have to understand that when a person buys a video game, they want to have fun with this game. That's how it's always been for me throughout the years of me being a gamer. I always look forward to having fun with a game. Like the very first Destiny, the Forza Motorsports 3, I'm trying to think, the Insomniac Spider-Man games, because I have to say those are probably some of the best games of our time, especially Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, in my opinion, if we're going to have a conversation of modern day gaming and Spider-Man 2 is not in that conversation, we're not having a intellectual conversation about gaming. You know, yeah, there's a lot of different games out there that people would say and argue and say that it's better than Spider-Man 2, but I guess for me, that's a game where I don't mind replaying it over and over and over again because the story was that good, the missions were that good, everything about that game was good. That's why they have stuff like that, like New Games Plus, in games like that, so people can go back and play it and, you know, see the Easter eggs, do the side missions, do the main missions, find I guess, because I know in them Spider-Man games, they'll have it where you gotta, like, find Peter Parker's backpacks or something like that. But yeah, there's, like, stuff that you gotta find throughout the map of the game and stuff. But that's the one thing that I would appreciate with Spider-Man, and I guess comparing it to a Souls-like game, is that they have a difficulty settings in there. Now, I don't think I would have sat down and played this game or had the amount of fun that I did with it if they had it where I'm facing actual Spider-Man challenges. Like, oh, I can't beat the first boss. And that's the thing where it's like, I don't mind if they have it set up where, yeah, I lose the fight, but you at least get to progress through the game. I don't mind games like that because I know the wrestling video games are set up that way where they're like, oh, perform a DDT, choke slam the wrestler, and then you know they're getting ready to transition to a cutscene, and then they have it where you lose the match. I don't mind if they have it set up like that, but if they haven't it set up where I can't progress in the game because I keep losing this, I'm not gonna fool with that game no more. Because I remember that it was one of the older wrestling games where they had it set up that way where it's like I just kept losing the wrestling match, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna play this game. I don't buy games to just get stuck on the same mission. I buy games so I can progress through them, have fun, see what the developers worked on. But if it's going to be set up where I'm like, or I get stuck on the first mission of the game, or I get halfway through and then there's that one boss that I can't beat, fam, there's no fun in that. None whatsoever. Or having it where I gotta run to YouTube, run to TikTok, run to Twitter, all these different social media platforms, Reddit, and try to figure out how to beat whatever boss in whatever game that I'm playing. There's no fun in that. And I know people are going to be like, oh, WWE, it's not a Souls-like game, but I'm pretty sure they probably had some developers working, I guess they used to work on Souls-like games, work on those WWE games, because where would they get that idea from? You see on the like wrestling shows, they don't have it set up where it's like, oh, the fans got to do something in order for the wrestler to win, and if they don't, then it's just the same match over. If you look at any modern day wrestling show, it's like not even modern day, just in wrestling history, if you look at WWE's history, AEW's history, TNA Impact's history, New Japan Pro Wrestling, they don't have the same wrestlers wrestling the same match up until, let's say it's like this, 2005, John Cena is going up against JBL, he loses, and the whole night he's just, trying to fight JBL until he wins, and now he has to go to this, and that's the whole show. It's him fighting JBL, he doesn't beat him, now he got to go to Batista, now he got to go to this wrestler, he got to go to that wrestler, goes up against him again, loses, and then that's wrestling for the whole year. I guarantee and I promise you people would get tired of, the WWE would have got canceled for doing some stuff like that, because they're like, we're not going to watch JBL and John Cena go up against each other for a whole year. There's all these different talents and wrestlers that you can be showcasing on a show. You're only going to have it where these two are the main. So that's how I feel when I play games like Elden Ring, Armored Core. And that's one thing that I paid attention to. That it's usually, I guess there's one game called Dual Corp. That's not by the company that does the Elden Ring and Dark Souls games and Armored Core. So it's this company called From Software Inc. And they did Armored Core, Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Sekiro, Shadow Die Twice. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But anyways, yeah, they do the they're doing like the big Souls like games, because yeah, those are games where it's like, and when you see people play these games, they always get frustrated, they always get stressed out, because there's that one boss that they are trying to fight with every bit of power within them, and they keep getting killed. Like, that's one thing that I don't look forward to. I'm not trying to, because I remember when Kai Cenat, when he was doing that Elden Ring stream, or like was it a subathon? Regardless, he was streaming a lot of Elden Ring. And I noticed that he had died, like, what was it, over 1,000 times in that game? Fam, I'm not trying to go through that. I'm not trying to have it where it's like you get so close, like the boss that you're fighting against, they got like a centimeter of health left. All of a sudden, they hit this crazy barrel roll, hit you twice, and then you're dead. No, I'm not trying to have it where I do that much damage to the boss. But that's a question I have to ask those developers behind, like, you know, Souls-like games and stuff. What does the NPC gain from beating me, and why is it that it takes me like 100 million hits to take out that boss, but they can take me out in 2 hits? Like, that's one game where I remember it was Black Myth Wukong. That was the name of that game. That's a Souls-like game, and they have it set up where when you go up against the first boss, yeah, I think it's designed for you to lose. Okay, no biggie, no problem. Eventually, they spawn you out in the, I guess, like in the world of Black Myth Wukong. They have it where you go up against some enemies here and there and stuff. All right, still, you know, I'm having fun with the game. I'm, you know, seeing the sights that need to be seen with this game. Then they had it where I was going up against, I don't know if it was a statue, but it was like some big giant man baby that you're fighting up against. All right, weird boss to fight, but okay, I'm not losing no sleep over it. I do all this damage to this boss. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, okay, let me like stealth hit him. Let me get some distance away. Let me wait until he swings and then start going in for the punches and all that stuff. Then it seems like that the game, it's kind of like working against you, or it's figuring out how you're, you know, taking out the boss. So then they just make it even more and more difficult. And I'm like, fam, do you or do you not want me to progress in this game? Like, I know there's going to be some Souls-like fans that's going to try to defend that, but I'm like, throughout the years of me, I've been playing video games for over 20 years. So that's when people they're going to try to like rush to me and say, oh, it sounds like a skill issue. Please think of something different to say. That's one thing I'm tired of hearing is, oh, it's a skill issue. It's a skill issue. I feel whoever came up with that, because you look back at gaming like 10, 20 years ago, people wasn't saying that. You know, it's like they probably would just ignore you if they're talking. No, and that's the thing. If you talked about a person's favorite video game, they would just ignore you. At least that's what I do when they talk about my favorite video game. I remember, I think, wasn't it IGN? It was some company that had posted, for one, they posted the wrong video of Spider-Man, but they made it seem like that the swing mechanics in the game wasn't all that good. And I think the Spider-Man game that they posted, it was one of the last, not the Insomniac ones, but I think it was the Amazing Spider-Man or something like that. But they posted a video of that Spider-Man and made it seem like that it was, I think, yeah, for Spider-Man 2, because I think that's when that video went viral and stuff. And I'm like, even if the swing mechanics wasn't all that good, still, that Spider-Man 2, the last Spider-Man game that they came out with, was probably one of, because that game came out in 2023, I think, 2024. Hold on for a second. Let me see real quick. That game came at 2023. That was probably one of the best video games to ever come out in 2023. And just in this decade of gaming, Spider-Man 2, if we're gonna have a conversation about video games, Spider-Man 2 has to be in that conversation. And that's the thing. I know people are going to probably be all like, oh, Elden Ring is a better game than Spider-Man. Yeah, I have to say, sales-wise, it probably is. You know, people, just the amount of people that I see streaming. I feel like that when Spider-Man 2 came out, I did not see the people that I seen playing Elden Ring, from friends of mine to big streamers. They wasn't playing Spider-Man 2 like that. Because Elden Ring, that's the more popular game. That's the game where you could get some clips out of it. That's the game where it's like, oh, you see everybody playing the game. Spider-Man 2, on the other hand, that's just a game that you play if you're a fan of Spider-Man. You know, but I feel like if that game would have had the same amount of fans that Elden Ring had, Spider-Man definitely would have been a better game. Just if we seen the amount of people playing, because I don't even think people are really playing it like that, on at least like not on Steam and stuff. Maybe on PlayStation they might be, but let's just see the Steam player count for Spider-Man 2, and then let's compare it to Elden Ring. It probably might be, like I say, Elden Ring is the more popular game, so I can see it being a little bit more. So currently, dang, that's crazy from what they had at like 3.8 years ago to what they have now. So right now, they got 42,000 people playing the game, 48,000 people in the 24-hour peak, and they had almost 1 million people playing this game 3.8 years ago, I believe, when the game came out. But yeah, 953,000 people. So my question is how did this game lose all of those fans in a span of 3.8 years? Because the way that people, I just know that there'll be people that'll hear this and they'll be like, oh, Elden Ring, that's the greatest game of all time. How is it that they almost, they pretty much lost like 900,000, like over like 910,000 players? Explain how you managed to lose over 900. And I know people are like, oh, well, there's the latest Elden Ring game that's out, and they're probably playing that. Okay, let's see what, Elden Ring Night Rain. So that game, 32,000 people are playing it right now. They had a 75,000 player in a 24-hour peak, and they had 313,000 people playing it 8 months ago. So that's worse than Elden Ring. You would think like, okay, as big as Elden Ring was, that it will probably have more people playing this Night Rain game. What happened? Like, that's what I would like to know. And I just think that has a lot to do with people are not trying to sit down and spend all this time. Because I would imagine that if you look, let's just see the amount of people. Because I do have the Elden Ring, like their stuff open on Steam. So if we look, the first person that you see on the like the review section of on Steam, this person put 1,136 hours into this game. And then somebody else, and that's probably somebody that was like, okay, they might have, there was like countless standard playthroughs, countless numbers. So there was like mod playthroughs and hours spent on fashion cosplay. So yeah, they might overall be a fan of that game. You know, can't get mad at them for that. And that's the thing. It's like, if you are a fan of Elden Ring, I'm not trying to take that away from you. I just want it to be one of those games where if future Souls-like games are going to come out, you have to make it where everybody can play it and not just fans of this. Because I guess for me, if I'm coming out with a video game, I want everybody to play it. I want it to have it where it's like, if I came out, like if the developers behind Elden Ring was like, hey, we want you to be behind Elden Ring too. I'm like, all right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to have it where it's probably double the map size, double the amount of enemies, come out, maybe, have it where some enemies come back from the original Elden Ring game, probably might have like some Dark Souls Easter eggs. They might have already had stuff like that in there. But one thing that we definitely have to add is a difficulty settings. So at least, because my thing is this, I want everybody to have an equal experience when playing that game. So somebody that just wants to have a casual experience, you can have that. You can have it where you're because my thing is this. On some real life stuff though, if I go out in the middle of the wild and I have no armor, no weapons, no nothing that can go up against a grizzly bear, how do you think that fight's gonna turn out? Because it's one of those things where it's like, it ain't even a skill issue. That's just stupidity. If I'm going to put myself out there in the middle of the environment, go up against this grizzly bear where they're used to that environment. They know how to fight off predators and all that other stuff. But wouldn't it make sense if there's a weapon or if there's anything that I can bring out there where I know it can kill a grizzly bear, wouldn't it make sense to bring that? So what sense does it make if I'm playing Elden Ring and you give me a wooden sword, some wooden shield, some wooden armor? What is that going to do against I think the first boss that they had me go up against in that game was like this guy, big old giant horse. I think the horse had golden armor. He had golden armor, but you give me a little, it's pretty much like some Minecraft pickaxe and stuff. And it's like, hey, go out there and fight. And then that's the thing with people. I remember what they were saying was that you don't have to go up against that guy. So I remember when I did play Elden Ring, I listened to the people. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to move on past this boss. I went on to into another area. There was like some enemies that didn't really take that much time to kill them, but I beat them up, went on about my business. I see this some boss standing up on this tree, and I'm like, okay, what could possibly go wrong? Same exact situation as the first boss. 2 hits, died. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what do they gain from beating me? Like, that's the thing. Like, this is an NPC. I can understand if there was somebody controlling this boss, but there ain't nobody I guess for somebody that doesn't understand Souls-like games, like if I had to explain Souls-like games, it's one of the most challenging genres out there. Like, if you're thinking it's going to be a game like Spider-Man, no, it's not. At least in the Spider-Man games, they're like, okay, we got to treat this like the movies. We overall want people to have this adventurous Spider-Man experience when playing the game. If Elden Ring was a movie, it would be like a Zack Snyder movie. You're sitting in there 5 hours watching the guy go up against the same boss over and over and over again. Like Elden Ring, that's one thing about it. If they wanted to get into like movies and TV shows and all that, they can have it where the first season is pretty much a realistic experience of a person playing Elden Ring for the first time, and they can go on for like 100 seasons. Like, it'll probably be the longest running TV show if they decided to turn Elden Ring into a show. And especially if they wanted it to be realistic. Yeah, having it where the main character is dying 1,000 times throughout the show. Do you honestly think people are going to want to sit down and watch that show? No. So that's why I'm like, why would you guys think that people will go out of their way? Like, let's just overall just, lay out some examples. Let's just lay out some weather conditions, the adventure you have to go to on going to your local Best Buy or Target or GameStops, or even if you just go and get the game digitally, still there's a process on, you making the money to go out and get, before you even get to the point of getting the game. So you got to go out and get yourself a good, decent monitor or TV, depending on however you're playing the game and stuff. Maybe you're a content creator, maybe you're not a content creator, but overall, let's just say you're not a content creator, right? So you gotta obviously make sure that you got a house so you can plug up your Xbox or PlayStation or even gaming PC. But once you got all that stuff figured out, you got everything that you need to play this game, you finally play this game, right? Like, yeah, let's say you're somebody, like maybe you were a kid when this game came out and you didn't have the funds to go out and get it, but you now have the funds to go out and get this game. You now are in a position where you could get whatever it is that you want to get. You want to go and play Elden Ring, and they have it set up where you're just getting killed left and right. You go through all of that hard work, because that's how I look at it, where it's like if you're somebody that puts, you're like working day and night, making sure that you're, never in a struggling situation, but you so happen to be a gamer. You go out and you get this game. What trips me out, right, is that you buy these games, and I guess like if you get the game digitally, then and it's like, okay, I'm not having a good experience with this game, I'm gonna get my money back. People want to get upset with you when you want to get your money back, and I'm like, fam, I worked for that money. I'm not trying to have it where I give it to a development company where it's like you guys can't even add a simple difficulty settings into the game. Then what trips me out about that, right, is that so if you do, like, let's say if you were to get Elden Ring on PC, that there's a website where there's like mods for Elden Ring, and that's one of the mods I remember looking up, because I say if I were to ever get Elden Ring again, that's the first thing that I'm downloading is a easy difficulty mod, because I'm like, I'm not trying to have it where I buy this game, get stuck with it, and I'm not having fun. So if I were to if I were to do one of them subathon streams or whatever, I'm downloading a easy mod. People can judge me if they want, but I'm like, I'm not trying to spend. How much is Elden Ring? So Elden Ring, that game costs, so they got the, by itself, Elden Ring $59.99. Then they got the Elden Ring Shadow of Erdtree, which is $79.99. Then they got a deluxe edition that's $99.99. I'm not trying to spend that much money on a video game and not have no fun with it. And when I look at all these other different video games that has an easy difficulty, and that's the thing that I like about games like that, is that they at least give you that option to play the game on easy or play the game on hard. Because Forza, Spider-Man, I'm trying to think, even the Batman games, I believe, are like that. There's a lot of different video games out there where, in a lot of different genres, and I'm probably pretty sure there's probably some Souls-like games out there where they have that. But for some odd reason, the people, because I think that's the people that make Elden Ring, and they make pretty, like, all the big popular Souls-like games, is From Software Inc. And I have played a little bit of Elden Ring, but there are some other games that they've came out with. Armored Core 6, that's a game that I did play a little bit of. I remember playing Dark Souls years ago. on my Xbox. But yeah, and that's the thing where I'm like, I remember when playing Armored Core, I did progress a little bit in there, you know, because there were people that were, and that's the thing, I'm like, there'd be some fans that just be mad toxic for no reason. Like, you talk on your frustrations with the game and they think that I'm trying to take them away from playing the game. Fam, if you want to play this game, play it. That just don't make no sense to me. You already know what this podcast episode is going to be about. You purposely make yourself upset listening to this podcast episode knowing I'm going to be talking against those games. I guess it's just more so for a person that if you're curious about Souls-like games, definitely listen to this podcast episode. Maybe I should have said that in the beginning of the episode, but no, with Armored Core 6, so I had to say that was probably the first Souls-like game that I got interested in, because before that I wasn't really all that interested in Souls-like games. Like, I think Elden Ring, I remember when that game came out, wasn't really all that interested into it. I remember hearing some things about Dark Souls and just seeing people playing it and stuff, and I was like, all right, cool, you know, it looks like a fun game, just not really all that interested in it. Armored Core 6, I'm like, fam, this game looks actually pretty dope. Like, you can make all these different mech suits and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, this game looks like it's a pretty chill game. $59.99, that's not that bad. Went ahead, played it. And I think that's what it was. People were like, oh, you shouldn't play the game on mouse and keyboard. So I think I went out and bought it on PlayStation. Bought it on PlayStation, still the same thing. Oh, you got to get from underneath the boss. Because it was the first boss that they had me go up against. So, and it was like some aircraft. It looked like it was kind of like a helicopter or something like that. But anyways, no, they was like, oh, you got to get underneath them and then attack from underneath. Okay, so I did that. My thing is this. Are you guys going to be, I guess, you know, here every single time when I'm going up against a boss and I'm trying to figure out how to take him out? Because that shouldn't be left up to you guys to do that. It should be left up to the developers to add a difficulty settings into the game so I could play the games to my likings and you could just sit down and just watch me play. But I feel like that's kind of messed up, because that's how you look at a lot of these games today. They're made for content creating reasons. Games, I feel like, yeah, games back then, they were meant for a household. Nowadays, games is meant for the internet. They're not meant for the you know, I guess like somebody, yeah, there's probably some people that do play Elden Ring and they're not a content creator, but I that would be my question to them. How many hours you think you done spent online trying to figure out how to kill a boss in that game, or figure out how to find some stuff, or whatever it is that you're trying to do in that game? How many hours you think you spent on Reddit or YouTube or TikTok or wherever, you know, I guess you go to for your source of figuring out a video game? How many hours you think you done spent on the internet all together trying to figure out how to play Armored Core 6 or any of the Armored Core games, I guess, if they all play the same, or Elden Ring or Dark Souls? Like, I just don't find no fun in having to sit around and keep doing that, you know? So, but yeah, I had, that was actually the whole motivation behind this podcast episode, was that there is the game that just recently came out, Dual Corp. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, fun looking game, kind of looks like a blend between Octopath, but that's actually what I had more so noticed, was that it looked like a 3D version of Octopath Traveler. So I was thinking like that's what that game was going to be. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, that was something that I did say when I did play Octopath Traveler 0, was that, yeah, they should make like a 3D version of it. I thought that's what that game was, or like in the 3D settings and stuff. Played it, first boss they had me go up against, I'm getting killed left and right. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm not gonna get stuck with this game, but I don't see the fun in having it where I'm getting killed left and right by this boss. He don't gain nothing. I'm supposed to be the one gaining something from this boss fight. So that's why I would have to ask that developer, what does the NPC gain from, you know, killing me and stuff? They don't gain nothing. It's a part of the game. It's a computer, you know, but overall, what am I guess, learning from that? Because I feel like you're not really learning nothing when you're, because all right, so let's just, you know, use another example. When you're a kid in school, did you have to look at your own tests and figure it out on your own when, you know, you're coming across some sort of math problem or reading, whatever the case is? Or are you having to look at other kids' tests? Because that's what I feel like I'm doing when I'm playing these games, and I'm having to go back and forth from YouTube, Reddit, and all these other. I'm pretty much, you know, taking answers from other people. So my thing is this. If you know about this stuff, how could it be difficult? It's a combat game. Like, why is there like a challenge to it? I guess, you know, and that's like, all right, so if we are still using the school example, that's like you doing the test, you do everything correctly, but the teacher fails you and stuff because, oh, you didn't do a handstand when doing the test. That's why I'm like, no, I'm like, put me in a different class then. And pretty much with a video game, yeah, put me in front of a different video game. Because if I got to do all these extracurricular activities just to play a video game, I'm good, bro. I'm okay. But it's like, even if you like, switch this into movies, and this is an example that I used before. Imagine going to go watch a movie. You spent the whole year waiting to see this movie. As soon as you get to the first scene, the movie pauses. You guys solve one of the movie theater people approach you and be like, hey, you guys solve this Rubik's Cube, and if you don't do it in a certain amount of time, the movie is going to start all over. We're going to mess up the Rubik's Cube all over again. We don't care how close you come to beating or solving the Rubik's Cube. You pretty much are going to have to do it all over again. You're not going to watch that movie. You're going to watch a movie that, like how every other movie has been designed, where it's either going to be an hour and a half to 2 hours, and however long the movie is going to be, but it's like there ain't no requirements on watching this movie and stuff. And that's why I think there was the one movie, The Long Walk, where they had it where it's like you had to actually walk like 3 miles per hour or something. I think it was some theaters that was doing it. I don't think all theaters was doing it, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people passed up on that option. They're like, no, I'm just trying to watch the movie. But I guarantee and I promise you, if they had it where you had to do some sort of activity when watching the movie, a lot of movies wouldn't be getting watched in theaters. And it was like, it's a requirement. Like, no, you have to do a backflip. You have to solve a Rubik's Cube. You have to walk at 3 miles per hour. People wouldn't be going to the movies. They're like, I'm gonna wait for this movie to come on cable when it's when it's all said and done and over with in theaters. I'm gonna just wait for it to come out on cable and then just watch it then. That seems more logical versus I gotta do all this extra stuff just to watch a movie. So that's why I'm like, man, people really gotta sit down and think about things before, I guess more so talking on to the gaming developers. You really gotta sit down and think, like, there are gonna be people that's playing your game for the first time. I'm not trying to have this experience where I'm spending more time on the internet trying to figure out how to play the game when it's a combat game. It's like, it ain't no different. I guess like when I think of a combat game kind of in the same settings as Souls-like video games, God of War, I feel like that's the best example that you can possibly use. They don't have it where it's set up where there's only one difficulty, and it's because my thing is this: you're a full-blown god, okay? What sense would it make to have it set up where everything that you're going like fighting against, they're beating you left and right? And I think they did have it where it's like in some of them God of War games, but that's a part of the story where you're supposed to lose a fight and stuff. But overall, do you think God of War, and I guarantee and I promise you, if they said that the next God of War game is going to be Souls-like, where it's like, oh, you're going to have to be, there's going to probably be the Souls-like fans, they got a new game to play, but the God of War fans, where it's like, I avoided Souls-like games so I can play games like God of War that got the difficulty settings, it's definitely going to be a lot of people going away from, because let's just see God of War, the amount of people that are playing that game right now. It probably ain't gonna be okay. So they had like 73,000 people playing the game, 4,000. That was like an all-time peak 4 years ago, and they got 4,000 people playing the game right now. That will probably, the 73,000, that will probably be the amount of people that would leave that game. I guess, like, overall the realistic number would be a little bit higher and stuff, but it definitely be a lot of people leaving God of War if there's like, why would you guys take away the difficulty settings? Nobody asked for you to take away the difficulty settings. And I guarantee and I promise you, if the developers behind Elden Ring, From Software or something like that, if they made a poll on social media saying, would you guys like well, no, they don't even need to make a poll. The funny thing is that if you go to one of the modding websites, they have a difficulty settings on there where you can add it to the game. But if they said, like, for Elden Ring 2, would you guys like a difficulty settings for that game? There definitely be a lot of people, even if the number is, or if it's lower than, I guess, the amount of people saying no, there's still going to be a significant amount of people saying, yes, I would like a difficulty settings into the game. But developers don't do that. They just come out with whatever, then they have it where there's the yes men and the fans of the game that's going to, support the game as much as they possibly can. But I guess for people like myself, where it's like, you're just a fan of gaming, our opinion doesn't matter. So then I'm like, that's the messed up part about Souls-like games, is that those games could reach a much more higher audience, but it's just locked in on people that just like Souls-like games, or I guess people that has the time and just overall the time to play Souls-like games. But me, on the other hand, if I'm trying to play a game quickly, I'm not trying to have it where it's like, okay, I play the game, get killed, and then whatever I need to do, and it's like, but that's the session every single time. There ain't no fun in that. So But anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.